I've really been looking forward to showing up and speaking with the community because I don't know, we need to talk about this. This is pretty serious, and I think we've all really felt the weight of the markets correcting, and a lot of us want to know why. You know, so I have my sources, of course. I follow a lot of what I consider the industry's best analysts, and a lot of it has to do with just wiping out these leverage longs, and just weird liquidity issues in the market. And that's why this happened. It happened on a Friday night, which tends to be the most illiquid time in the markets. And that's what I think we all have to remember is that crypto is still, I mean, there's just not that much money in it compared to other world markets. So that being said, that's why it's so volatile. That's why it really doesn't take much to move it at times. So I'm pulling up here now. I like to use CoinGecko.com. The numbers from the exchanges tend to be more accurate than say CoinMarketCap, and this is where you can see the market cap of all the cryptos. So right now, Bitcoin's trading under 51,000. We're at 50,500, just about. Uh, that's kind of bearish to me. I'd like to see this getting above 52K. So at this rate, it's like when the market crashes now, it's like you have to get above these, like what used to be support levels now becomes resistance. So now it's like really a fight to get to levels that are in higher prices. So what that means is that it's going to take more time for the market to move higher. I mean, of course, you never know. It could spike up out of nowhere. You never know. But like this whole change in the market, it didn't break any major market structure, but it definitely changed a lot of things where we're kind of hanging out in no man's land in terms of where do we go next. So if you had to ask my opinion, of course, this is never financial advice. These are just my opinions because I'm heavily invested, not so much financially as much as I am my heart and my soul in the crypto space. But my opinion is that I think we're going to see some more downside in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I think it's going to take more time for this to play out. As some of our new listeners may not know, right now all the markets are correlated. So the stock market, gold, right, Bitcoin, they're all correlated together. So when they're rising together. When they're falling, they're usually rising or falling together, rather. The only difference is the U.S. dollar. And when I look at the DXY chart, I can't believe how bullish this is, right? I mean, if you look at this thing, it's like it's taken off. Like the buying power of the dollar is going up. And what that means is that the smart money, the big money, we're talking about hedge funds, big venture capital firms, all the big players in the world, right? They're moving into cash. And to me, that is super bearish for any risk on asset, especially cryptocurrency. So here we are as pirates. We want to see the value of Pirate Chain go up, not just for ourselves, but because we know that it is the most private currency on the planet right now. It's the most sound fungible money on the planet. That's why we're here. But we want to see the value go up. And the more it goes up, the more we're going to turn heads and people are going to say, what is this Pirate Chain? And that's only going to increase adoption. So obviously, we all want this to happen. But we have to protect ourselves, right? So if the smart money is getting out of risk on assets and the dollar's going up, we have to be careful. So, my advice would be that if you're feeling nervous or you're feeling like, oh shit, I'm losing a lot of value in my portfolio, it might be time to take some off the table if you haven't done so already. That's always the safest thing to do. Never be all in if that's all you have. That's super risky. But at the same time, I'm just going to reiterate that, if I pull up the Pirate Chain price at the time of recording, Pirate is trading at $1.41. So I as well as anyone I talk to, believes that Pirate Chain between $1 and $2 is basically a steal for dollar cost averaging in. So maybe you don't sell right now. Maybe you just hold and be patient and see how this plays out. But me personally, I do think Bitcoin's going to go down and retest those lows, maybe around 38,000K. And the altcoin market is going to take another hit for that. So you could see Pirate trading maybe $1.30 as it was a few days ago or lower. So at that point, I'm just going to dollar cost average in more. Yeah, so that's basically my update for the week. I feel with you guys. This whole heinous debacle of a market capitulation is par for the course, but it's why we're here. And the more we can stomach this, the stronger we can get in the end. Because I firmly believe that this is still the calm before the storm. If you guys have heard the song that I wrote with Lootz, "The Legend of Lootz," it's on the Pirate YouTube channel. We got a music video and everything. Like, I'd love to hear what you think in the comments about the lyrics, because the lyrics, it's not just the song for fun, right? We're not trying to make top 40. We're trying to tell people, like, seriously, like, we're at a crossroads in humanity. These tools, the technology, the blockchain is either going to enslave humanity or it's going to set us free. Pirate Chain is a technology that will set us free. Centralized projects like Ripple and even Ethereum, which is not private smart contracts, things like that could enslave us because they give away all of our financial privacy and who we are and what we're doing, and that's dangerous. So it's important to take a look at this, and it's important to take a look at the world markets, because if the DXY is going up and that seems to be the trend, that people are getting into dollars, then it just makes me wonder what's coming. Like, it's entering the age of Aquarius, the air age of technology, all of the world changing before our eyes with the restrictions, the tyranny, the lockdowns, everything, just the mass mind control that's been happening. It's pretty scary, right? And it's real, and it's happening. The world is changing before our eyes. So we have to be ready for this. And me, as the Pirate Weekly market update guy, I have to point out that I've got this cool artwork coming out by our artist Mako that he did for me for the updates. I can't wait to share it with you guys, because it's my passion to just look out for not only myself but the whole community, because I want all of us to win together. We all want to win together. So we got to be careful, because 2022 could be a very turbulent year, just as a whole. So on that note, Teebs, I'm really stoked to have you take away this this weekly show here. This is going to be great to have you on, and we do have an exciting guest on today, the Peaceful Pirate Project. So from that point on, if you guys want, you can check me out all socials at BeLoveAndBeYou. Check out that music video on the Pirate Chain YouTube, and I'll definitely be here next Wednesday for the next market update. Cheers.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, we have Jake here from the Peaceful Pirate Project. How you doing, Jake?
How's it going, man? I'm Jake. I also go by Blackbeard X Rune on all the socials. So I'm captain of the Peaceful Pirate Project. I also do the social media for Rune, which is a crypto game in the metaverse. And I also am a ambassador for the Game Hunters, which is connected to the Yield Guild games DAO. So what Peaceful Pirate Project is basically we're trying to create a network of self-sufficient communities that exist and operate outside of normal society and have everything they need to function. We're trying to use private blockchains such as ARRR to basically trade goods and resources between these networked communities without the government being able to track and trace anything. So we want to use permaculture principles such as cob houses, natural structures, earth ships, food forests, aquacultures, you name it, all the things that would make a human paradise utilizing modern green technology along the way. So we want to, right now we're in the beginning stages of planning how this is going to operate. At first we were thinking a nonprofit community because that's how all of these other communities are operating. But then with the blockchain, now we've been considering doing it as a decentralized autonomous organization, because DAOs are kind of the future of where businesses are going. You don't need any centralized authority or board of directors. You can actually have the token holders themselves be able to vote on the direction of these communities. So yeah, I feel that basically freedom en masse is us getting together with our friends, with our crews, and getting land, becoming completely self-sufficient, and creating our own system outside of this system.
Nice. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Sounds like a counter economy.
Yeah, have a major problem with the lockdowns and just the government manipulation over pretty much everything. I mean, even down to the music, constantly telling us to buy and consume, and it's really like they live out there, right? So we feel that the only way to truly escape all of the programming is to get back into our roots, get back to the point where they took us away from our natural inclinations. They want us all to sit here as consumers, driven by whatever the newest hype is. And that in the process, it's destroying our consciousness. They want everybody on a low consciousness type of frequency so that they can sit there and drive us into whatever pit they want us to. And they use Facebook and all these different programs to algorithmically track and trace us. We give them all the information that they need to give us the perfect slew of propaganda right in our face. Right? They don't need to make propaganda as broad anymore. They can tailor fit it directly to us based on what we tell them. Right? So we want to live in a society where that's not happening. And unfortunately, we feel that that's how this current society is designed. So the only true way to get out of it is to create our own outside of this system. So that comes in with utilizing pirate chain or different private currencies to be able to trade goods and resources between our own communities. We're not going to be free as long as we're continuing to work that 9 to 5, shop at the big corporate consumer store, rely on these centralized farming operations to grow all of our goods and resources. That's not freedom.
Right. No, and I agree. So with a community like this, would people be able to say rent a home or something like that and be able to pay their rent with cryptocurrency?
So the way that the current ones operate that are out there right now, because we're trying to expand on an already existing idea, basically, which is eco villages, permaculture eco villages. They usually operate as nonprofits. I took my permaculture course in 2012 from this one that it's in the Cuyama Valley outside of Santa Barbara, California. And they have about 15 to 20 people. Their name is Quail Springs. They all live on the land together. They have cob houses, which is made out of sand, clay, and straw. There's still cob houses standing in England from the 1700s. That's how strong of a building material it is, right? So all these people live together and they share different roles on the land together. So it wouldn't necessarily be that you're renting a plot. It would be that you're getting together with your crew, people that you trust, right? And we're seeing each land as kind of its own pirate ship unto itself, where it has its own crew and it has its division of roles. You got people that want to cook, you got people that want to take care of the goats, you got the natural builders, and all forms together into your own little plot of self-sufficiency, linked together through a larger network connected by a blockchain, so that each pirate ship, so to speak, can have its say within the larger network of the system.
That is interesting. So
Yeah.
when with the rest of, because I see this being becoming a common trend too, and a lot of people are asking more and more about where they can live or where they can go to own property or spend their crypto to be able to buy real estate with crypto, and that's been an ongoing struggle. Like you mentioned, we just don't have the freedom to be able to live the way that we want to, or even use the currency that we want to in a lot of cases. But with something like this, yeah, I can see the potential in that. And the same would go with, you mentioned the community. So would people be actively coming here and bringing their own trade skills with them to I mean, would the community just be trading within itself or also with the rest of the outside world?
That depends on how each community wants to operate, because I'm sure each individual group is going to have their particular way that they want to operate within this. So they will be able to trade within their own group. They'll be able to use those cryptocurrencies for. Let's say you have a group based in Washington, where apples grow really good, and you got these different Pacific Northwest crops that you can't really grow in California. So you're sitting here shipping these crops back and forth, but using a blockchain currency to be able to trade. But each crew is going to want to operate differently amongst themselves, and I believe that would be for them to do. The way that YGG operates is they have YGG, which is the main DAO. They are a crypto gaming guild that basically invests in NFT assets and loans them out to players that can't afford them. And then they started like the scholarship program with Axie Infinity. So the way they operate, they have the main centralized, not the main, it's not centralized, the main DAO, the decentralized autonomous organization. Then they got sub DAOs for each game can sort of vote among how that guild will operate in that game. So I'm seeing something similar with this. Like I haven't really decided or figured out like the exact structure yet. So we're still in the planning stages with this, but I'm seeing sort of a main DAO that's the project in general, where each one of the sub DAOs would have a voice in voting how the entire project goes. But then among themselves, they would be able to vote for how their particular community wants to operate. Right now, it's just me and three of my other friends, and we are basically saving up to get land in Central California, basically near Sequoia, near Yosemite, where we can grow a lot of food, but also be able to attract people and show them, hey, look, this is possible. We can have freedom here. We can have self-sufficiency. We don't need to work like dogs our entire lives. And then other than that, I'm trying to inspire other crews around the world, whoever wants to pick up and do this same type of mission. And then we could all band together and find a way to operate without the government tracking and tracing every single transaction we make.
Awesome.
Within the larger scheme of things, you have, let's say, Doctors Without Borders, Dentists Without Borders. You have people willing to provide their services for free to people in third world countries. I figure if this type of movement gets large enough, you're going to have the same type of thing where you're going to have every single type of role that would be filled. People would hear about this, and you'd get, people who want to make clothing or people that want to build houses. And that's the beauty of this. That's what already exists within the permaculture community, but they're not really the anarchist types. They're kind of trying to work with the current system, and I personally don't see any benefit to the current system. I believe it's set up as a trap to get us all in this constant cycle of 65 years of work and then put us out to pasture when we're too old to do anything about it. And I want to get I want to get people out of that. I want freedom and mass, and I think this is the way to do that.
Ironically, I think with all the government mandating and everything that they've shown that they can do, just from the amount of people that were declared unessential when when they brought in the lockdowns. I mean, I could see a lot of people that aren't even necessarily anarchists that would probably want to that might have an interest in this idea with the Peaceful Pirate Project, because I mean there's a lot of people who have skills in cooking. There were people, hairdressers, that were out of work. A lot of them had to resort to just doing it out of their homes. They just call up their regular clients, or whoever the regular customers were, and let them know, hey, I'm still cutting hair, or doing whatever out of their houses. But with something like this, that's something that I think a lot of people could fall back on if they find themselves with no other means of being able to provide a living for themselves because everything is becoming so controlled and regulated and centralized. So yeah, this
Yeah,
sounds like a great idea to me.
Yeah,
I
and
like to jump. I like to jump
okay.
in and hey, Blackbeard, how you doing?
How's it going, man?
Today I'm Team's sidekick. So
Yeah,
me myself, I've actually been looking for a homestead for my kid, right? So, like, if something happens in this world, which is happening now, and he's got nowhere to turn, I want him to be able to have a piece of land where he will have water, he'll have shelter, he'll have game or food or however he could grow it, right? And he could be self-sufficient, and he doesn't have to worry that maybe if he loses his home, he's got nowhere to go, and he'll end up on the street like I did. So I want to make
yep.
sure that never happens to him by him having his own piece of land where he could go to if things get bad. He could just go there and live off the land.
Yeah, exactly. And if we were to do that as a group, then it just increases our strength. Some of these methods, like the food forest I was talking about, there's a video on YouTube. It's called 2,000-Year-Old Food Forest, and it's in the middle of the Moroccan desert, right? It's been feeding people for 800 different people still farm it to this day. And what a food forest is, it's a 7-layer planting of crops. You got your ground covers, you got your root crops, you got your fungi, you got your vine crops, you got your short trees, tall trees, etc. But it's designed to be a forest. And this isn't some new technology. This is an ancient technology that existed all over the Middle East and Africa and different places where it was necessary. Well, there's a 2,000-year-old food forest with a date palm overstory, banana understory. It's got figs. It's got all sorts of things in it growing in the middle of the desert. And these are things that humans can design and speed up the process of. And once you build them, you no longer have to actually uh, tend to them all the time. It grows just like a forest. If you design these correctly, it'll just keep growing. You would have to physically remove it to get rid of it. And the reason why it isn't done in commercial agriculture is because they have to be able to run their big machinery through the whole entire thing, right? They can't do that in something that's a multi-crop planting, which is more natural, which is how nature grows food. That's why a lot of single crop plantings end up having, or monocrops, they end up having diseases or bugs or, issues. A forest grows naturally, and if you were to design it as a food forest, that continues providing food for people for literally thousands of years. So, this is beyond just resilience for ourselves. This is literally being able to transform swaths of land into productive communities permanently. Yes, right? Permaculture built into the name. If only the government didn't sit there and try to wipe things out, such as like rain collecting in Utah, or can't even collect your own water out there. But
I
if we
can't
were,
have chickens. Can't even have
yeah,
chickens, bro.
yeah, it's ridiculous, So, if we were to have enough people and a loud enough voice to where we could actually define our own lives, we wouldn't be defined by whatever job we can get, or people wouldn't have to take jobs in order to just survive. They would be able to live their life and figure out what they want to do with their life. Imagine kids being born into a system like this. Let's say they're born into a poor family. Rather than being forced to be a janitor or forced to do something, they can literally just live on the land and then figure out what they want to do with their life and actually find their own passions.
You,
I
you, you
wouldn't.
know you know what, dude? How I learned. I just got thousands of seeds from the internet and I threw them everywhere. There was no making plots or tracks or holes. Dude, I just threw them everywhere and I covered them with more soil. And that was my first experiment in Staten Island. And my God, the amount of food I grew, bro. It was just out of control everywhere. And there was so much goddamn food I couldn't give it away. So it's that easy. I mean, if you guys
Yep.
think you can't grow, if you think it's that hard that you got to go out there with a shovel, nah, it's not even that hard. When it rains, before you get a heavy rain, just go outside and start throwing some seeds all over the goddamn place. And I guarantee you're going to have spinach and cauliflower and who knows, basil, whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, I did that my first garden ever. I created a little bed and I mixed up like 10 different seeds and I threw them in there and I just let grow naturally whatever competed. Hey, that's going to be pretty good if it can outcompete the other shit, right? So,
It's lazy. To me, it's laziness. You're all lazy bastards. If you can't go outside and drop a seed on the floor, you're just lazy.
yeah, and the thing about these systems, if you prepare them correctly, a lot of them are perennial to where, the initial work, once that's all done, it's just going to keep providing you food for year after year after year. There's incredible systems where you don't really need to do as much work. I mean, the way I envision it, right, is the way that this one runs Quail Springs. They got 450 acres, and each person has their own little home. You can't even see another person's home within distance of theirs. They have a spring that runs through the land. It runs all the water on the land. They got a few solar panels to do all their electric, and they grow all their own food, and anything they don't grow they trade with locals. When I went there, it was a 2-week course, and there was 30 people that attended, and we all camped on the land, and they sat there and had us living like this community. And I can't tell you how much we're actually missing the community aspect. That's why they sat here and try to separate us into our own little boxes, staring at these little boxes. We don't even hang out with the people in the same room as us anymore. That's what they wanted, because coming together as these strong communities is really the only way to figure out, wow, they're fucking us. How are we going to fuck them back over? How are we going to get free of this? They want us to do it all in a controlled way, over Facebook or Twitter or wherever they can cause us to fight with our fellow man, rather than realizing, wow, this is something bigger than that. It's something where everybody's kind of being manipulated into a life of servitude.
Why aren't you guys using pirate in your environment over there in California? Why are you guys using these other technologies?
I'm using Pirate, honestly, as my I actually ended up aping into a different project that I joined the team of, but my business is on the Armada. It's the painting company called Paint Daddy. So, right when the Armada right when I found out about it, I ended up, I accept R. If you want to get your house painted in California, in the Los Angeles area, I will accept Pirate Chain 100%.
Us.
As far as like my personal holdings, I ended up aping into the project I became a team member of. It's crypto game that is going to be a MMORPG where you actually own all your assets. So rather than just NFTs where they're just like profile pictures, all these influencer scams they're pushing right now. Oh, buy this one for Jake Paul and Logan Paul with their crypto dicks or whatever. These NFTs are actual gaming assets that you can sell to other players at later points. Unlike, let's say, you play a game for years like Diablo 2 or something, you put 1,000 hours in, you don't own your assets. Blizzard does. You try to sell it, they ban your account. NFTs are solving that within gaming, so that's
I'm not a
kind of
big
what we're
fan.
going.
I'm not a big fan of NFTs, honestly.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the normal NFTs, but as far as like ownership of your digital assets in game, rather than allowing the companies to have a monopoly over your assets, that's where I'm making my money at right now in order to fund the rest of the project. Once we get to the point where we can actually start trading goods and resources, then it's going to be all privacy coin. I mean, that's really what we are focused on, is getting the money up to that point where we can start focusing on the privacy aspect.
Cool. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. And how do people get involved? What's the website?
We don't have a website yet, but if you want to join the Discord, I can link that in the weekly chat group. We are trying to, we're trying to come up with the plan before we have the website and we set up a roadmap and all this type of stuff. And right now, figuring out the format of the DAO is going to be what we're trying to do. I have a friend one of my crewmates is in chat right now. Her name is Victorious Rebel. So she can go into the weekly chat and post the Peaceful Pirate Discord for you guys if you want to join and chat with us. And, every week we have 2 meetings a week on Thursday and Saturday. So if you guys want to talk with us on how to expand on this idea, we're definitely down. We're looking for new ideas and looking for ways to actually get the ship into the water, so to speak.
Yeah, no, me too. Especially I'd be curious what kind of bureaucratic red tape and obstacles you'd have to jump through. I imagine, like in a country like America, it kind of depends on state to state. You know, like Utah, you mentioned, you can't even collect your own rainwater. But you know, yeah, no, that I'm interested. I think something like that is, it's people are considering these ideas already, having self-sustainable compounds. So if something like the Peaceful Pirate Project can lead the way and become a movement in itself, where other people are able to, kind of, you know, do what the first team was able and successful at doing. It's kind of like, I sort of picture like a modern day Amish community, just without the religious rules and the the avoidance of internet or any technology. But I mean, there's got to be something other than probably religious exemptions or something like that. I'd be interested in finding out. But yeah, thank you for coming and coming aboard. I think Lootz said that we have some announcements on the iOS wallet. I'll let Lootz take over from here.
Yeah, we'll be bringing Gruel in for that. But just to close this nicely, and keep in mind, Teebs, he's my sidekick, but I will be his sidekick going forward. Just so I have more time to handle other responsibilities I have in life. But I never leave. That's just a fact. And ask anybody. I'm like that. I'm like the grime that gets left behind all the time in the shower. Every time I take a shower, I'm always there, no matter what. That's probably a bad example, but you get my drift. What's your website? Where can people find you? Let's get your information so that everybody listening could find you.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I'll post information in the weekly meeting chat so you guys can, if you guys want to chat with us, even if you're inspired to do this yourself with your own community and you don't want to be part of the Peaceful Pirate Project, I'll provide you with whatever information you want to get from point A to having your own community with your friends. So yeah, weekly meeting chat in the text, I'll go post all the info. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. It was fun.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
You're
All right,
the
take it
man,
easy.
and I love your name, and I love the name of your project.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
We're all pirates. We all have a little bit of pirate inside of us. And if you don't, I got some friends. Gruel is here already. What's up, brother? Welcome.
Hey, Lootz. Hey, Teebs. How are you doing? And hello, pirates out there who are listening.
Welcome aboard.
Nice to be here, mate.
So we got the new iOS wallet, guys, and a lot of I feel like it's not getting enough oomph, enough right? Because you guys have been asking for this shit for like 2 years now. I mean, everybody that still uses iOS, that's your choice. Now you have an option that was never there before. You could actually use Pirate on your phone and exchange with people on your phone. So this is really some groundbreaking stuff. If we haven't been able to do it in 2 years, this is some really groundbreaking stuff, and you guys should be embracing the fact that we have our own iOS wallet, and it's not just the third-party solution.
Well, a little bit of correction. iOS wallet that my team has built, it can count as a third party because it's built by my team, which is Meshbits Limited team. So you can count it under the third party, but it's exclusively for Pirate. There is no plan for adding another cryptocurrency to that. In case I will have such kind of plans, I will prefer to start some other new project and just keep this Pirate wallet dedicatedly just for Pirate only.
Let me explain. I see you as pirate always, no matter what, because you were there
Oh,
in the
that
beginning.
I will always be.
So, yeah. So no matter what, it's still made by a pirate.
Oh, that is
It's
true.
not made
Yeah,
by some
I
other
agree with
project.
that.
You know?
True that. Yeah.
So this is a short AMA, guys. For the last end of this show, please raise your hands if you have questions on the pirate on the iOS wallet. And where can people try this iOS wallet, bro?
They can go to piratewallet.io website, and they can test from there, install from there. And they can also visit or follow a Twitter profile. You can find it by Pirate Wallet on Twitter. You will be easily able to find it on Twitter, and you can check the first pinned tweet over there. That takes you to a blog post, or you can also visit blog.piratewallet.io. There is a first and one only post over there, which can give you all the information that you need to understand how you can participate in first beta release of iOS Wallet.
Cool. Is it hard to install?
It's very easy to install. Yeah.
I know nothing about Macs and iOS stuff.
It's
so.
fine. Those who use iOS devices, they will find it pretty easy to install and use. Yeah.
Every time I get on a Mac, I'm like, where the hell is the other button? It's missing a button.
Yeah.
There's no mouse. It's missing a second mouse button.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So ask your questions now, guys. Raise your hand. Even if you want to just ask Gruel some questions about himself, you know how Gruel's one of the originators, guys. If you go to piratechain.si, SI like Staten Island, and there's a history in there, and you can see that he's been here from the beginning. So if you want to know about pirate, man, Gruel's the guy.
Yeah, you can ask any question. If I can answer those, I will, or otherwise maybe I will point to something or somewhere where you can possibly get answers from there.
Sweet. We got Illumatic. Just hit the accept button at the top, brother. Thank you.
Wanted to chime in here with the Pirate Wallet on iOS. I was recently able to test it actually myself, so good that you brought that up. It's pretty simple to test it actually. You just have to install like this app called Test Flight, and then through Test Flight it allows you to install like beta apps. And yeah, I was able to import my private key and everything, no troubles. It's showing my balance. It took a little bit of time to sync, but after that, like it has biometrics and everything, and it's got a nice dark background, so it's easy on the eyes. You can see the history and everything. It's working really well. You can change your PIN. You can add biometrics. Yeah, so it works pretty well. I'm just wondering though, when's it going to come out of beta? And is it going to be easy to get it onto the App Store or not?
Thanks for the nice feedback, Illuminatic. I guess I'm speaking your username correct. So yeah, right now I prefer it to keep it till all the feedback that I got, all the issues that we have got from the community, which is totally expected for a new software being released to the new user bases. So as soon as those are fixed and I get more positive feedback from community, like lesser and lesser issues being shown by the users, we as a Meshbits team will prefer to move to a first initial basic stable release. The first issue was to put it to a test flight based first public beta. With this first public release through test flight, Apple gives us a limitation of 10,000 maximum testers. So once it's reached, I don't know exactly what happens next. Either we get more tester limitation or raise the limitation, or it is possible that in either way, either we get stabler and stabler releases next, and we make it publicly available on App Store. As of the current situation, most of the feedbacks I heard were positive, and there were very few which were saying we had some kind of issues. But those kind of issues were mostly, were kind of on edge cases. Like some users were using very large font screens, or some users are using small screens, or some users are using some Wi-Fi or network where they're not able to connect to the server or something and not able to sync. So these kind of edge cases are there. So those edge cases will also be rectified with a little bit more features added to it, which can troubleshoot those on its own and recommend those settings to users. So there are quite a bit of releases you can still expect, but I still won't be hesitant to give a dedicated timeline or deadline when it will be available on App Store. It is already available through test flight publicly, and there is a huge limit which is provided by the test flight application by App Store, which allows almost anybody who is coming to install this application on as many devices they can. There is no such limitation. So you can treat this as publicly available. There's not much of difference, I understand, from publicly App Store based or just test flight based. But sure, I understand some users might still feel kind of hesitant because it says in the name test in a test flight. So yeah, so that's my answer will be right now, to be honest. But I would be hesitant to give any deadline for a public stable release at this moment.
Sure. Well, thanks for that answer. And it's good to hear that you're like getting a lot of good feedback. And I actually personally seen that a lot of apps haven't built in functionality to deal with like large fonts and stuff, where people have like modified their screens because they have trouble seeing or stuff like that, and then it distorts everything. So I think it's a very common problem that a lot of apps come into, and they don't actually consider it because in the testing phases, they don't consider that some people might have increased their font size. So a lot of people just overlook that and they don't have anything to handle it. So yeah, it's really good that you already caught that in the really early stages.
Yeah. It totally made sense. Even if in our internal testing, it was much stabler by the day. To me, it totally makes sense because I have been developing softwares before for the community. You can never get out of the situation where some users say, I have this issue or that issue. Even after we make a stable release, it's totally expected. It will have issues, but then we can make more releases, which will make further bug fixes in those further releases. It's just a label, to be honest. The best case in any kind of situation or any kind of stage on using any software, not just our software, but any software is, especially for wallets, is to take backup of your wallet private key. With iOS wallet or any pirate chain wallet, you should always keep a backup of your wallet seed phrase. That seed phrase is the most important thing you should take care of. Put it on a paper or some USB or some other possible ways. There are many other articles and guides in the ecosystem people have written and laid on, which you can use to understand how to take proper backup of your wallet seed phrase. That is a must.
Sure. Yeah, that's definitely good practice. When because I used to work in tech support in IT, they always said like keep multiple backups in different locations in case for like corporate environments, it would be like in an off-site location in a fireproof safe.
A backup of backup system
in multiple locations. And some of the team have like even recommended like burning like the seed phrase onto like metal sheets or something like that, like inscribing metal sheets so that like even if it gets into a fire, you're still not going to lose it.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely good recommendations there, but it is up to the individual how you want to back that up. Whether you want to encrypt data on a USB drive, or whether you want to store it offsite, or when you want to put it in like a pipe somewhere and bury it at sea, like depends on the individual.
Yeah,
actually, Teebs has some solutions on that, right, Teebs?
Yeah, I created a prototype that I haven't gone into full manufacturing yet, but I call it a C-King. It's a cipher where you can encrypt and mask your characters. So your numbers, your letters, you can stamp them as pictures like skulls and crossbones and Norse runes and things like that. And if you have the cipher, you can break down the code and only you can read it. So makes it theft resistant, fireproof, crush resistant, corrosion resistant. Yeah, you can hide it right in plain sight.
Cool.
Love that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
How does
hopefully
that
I'll
does
be
the
working on
decryption
that some more in the future. But yeah, it's just another way to be able to keep it safe and secure.
How does the decryption work? Like, is it via a computer program, or is there like
Sorry, say
some
again.
sort of? How does the decryption of the skull and crossbones kind of
Yeah,
cipher work?
it actually.
Do you point the camera at it, or how does that decrypt?
It kind of it works like if you look up what a Caesar cipher was, it looks like two rings of characters. The way a traditional Caesar cipher worked, it was just two of the same alphabet and they're offset a little bit. But in my case, with the one that I created, the second ring of characters is a totally different alphabet. It's all the characters have been replaced with either Norse runes or just simple pictures like Rogers, sailboats, things like that. And I was able to find all the punch stamps for them online. So what you would do is you would just stamp your seed phrase or your private key into anything metal. Some people like to use metal plates. I think that looks a little too suspicious. I think a lot of the best things hidden are right in plain sight. So if you were just to put it somewhere where it would look natural or just completely inconspicuous, then it's a good and hack-proof way to be able to back up and store your private key.
Yeah, that makes good sense. Like there could even be like posters or something where they'd leave like a section vacant for you to just put some skull and crossbone stamps or something on. It's like a pirate ship or something, and then it's got like pirates and something. You're decorating your wall with it, and then you put the cipher at the bottom, like with rubber stamps or something, and then it just looks completely like a piece of artwork that nobody would ever suspect, and it's just hanging on your wall. And people come in like raiding your apartment or whatever, and you're just like, yeah, good luck figuring that one out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the cipher itself, I've even come up with a couple of different ways of being able to disguise that in itself. One version was a holographic pendant. You would just either hold it up to a light and look through the pendant and be able to see the cipher, or if you put a powerful enough light through it, then you could project the cipher onto a surface. But yeah, a lot of different ways that you could get creative in doing that. That's one of the things that I love about about this technology and how just all the different uses that come out of it, because I'm not even that techie, to be honest. I've been a metal worker most of my life, so when I came up with the Caesar cipher idea and turned it into applying it to the world of crypto, that was just something that I thought of when I first saw people engraving their private keys, and I said to myself, well, sure, it's fireproof, but what if somebody gets their hands on those suspicious looking little metal plates and they happen to think, maybe this is a private key. As of right now, most people probably wouldn't instantly recognize that random string of numbers and letters and say, oh, that's somebody's private key. But 20 years from now, that might be different. So you got to have a way to be able to disguise it so that if anybody happens to see it, they wouldn't even think that has anything related to anything to do with a password.
It would be cool to see like DNA or something with with your own blood's DNA, like some type of code that your own DNA can produce and always produce the same number for some reason. Maybe not your DNA, maybe just something as unique as your blood, right? That can produce a unique string of numbers that's always the same every time it's drawn from it. And that string should be the way you decrypt something. I'm waiting for that too, man. I have a lot of dreams. So Betty, I wish, right? It's like a sci-fi movie in here. Yo, Betty, what's up, man? Welcome. And then we have Amy.
Hi, Lootz. Gruel, thank you for all the efforts. You guys can hear me well, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah.
you.
Right,
Nice to have
I'm
you
at
here, Benny.
Universal right now in Florida, so I just wanted to make sure. So I wanted to find out the artwork that's on the iOS app. Is that something that's going to be, you guys are going with that for sure, or you're going to change it up? Because it goes away from the pirate logo, and there's no gold in there. There's no, I don't know if you're trying to add maybe financial privacy today is freedom tomorrow, or something like good luck tracing us with a scattered skull. Just giving you a little bit of ideas in case you guys are still in the preliminary round as far as like figuring out the artwork, because it kind of looks kind of basic. Just giving you my feedback.
Okay, nice to hear about that. I like that graphics and everything, and the artist also put a good effort to that. So it is different as to the official pirate.black website is because it's not developed by the Pirate team. Actually, it's developed by the Meshbits Limited team. And that's why I would say it's a third-party effort. And for that reason, actually, first, I also use the gold color and black color and all the same kind of theme, which is used by the pirate.black website. And then I got the marketing guy and the designer who suggested to keep it distinct from the official theme, because it shouldn't be confused with the official one, because it's developed by the third party. So for that reason, the graphics and all those things are distinct from the official theme to say or show it is a third party wallet. So for that reason, any graphics or any richness in those graphics will be enhanced further as time goes by. Yeah, sure. Your suggestions, your advice, we can sure take those into note and apply those into our work. So yeah, that's the situation.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Benny. Thanks for your question and feedback.
Hey guys, and keep in mind, Meshbits, to me, it's Komodo. It's the same. It's us. It's still the same as us. It's part of us. So it's kind of like, if you want to think about it, like another fleet, right? Like I build my team. Gruel has his team.
Like Lootz has Acon Labs, so it is also facilitating those research and development for the ecosystem, if I understand, especially for the pirates. So it's kind of the same situation with me as well. So I have a Meshbits team. We are aiming to not just cover pirate, but we are also aiming to cover any other possible ecosystem projects we can possibly make. So the purpose of Meshbits Limited team is to develop tools and applications for developers and end users. And while we are making those applications, we try to keep it as decentralized as possible. Wherever we can cut those corners of cutting those centralized points and giving the full control to the end users, either by those creating tools and open sourcing those, this is our aim, and this is what we are doing those. So example is with this iOS wallet, there is already a source code available from upstream, which is Light Wallet D. It is a wallet server, Light Wallet server, which a user connects to it. Those who are tech savvy, they can choose to install their own server and point their application, their iOS application, to their own server, which means they don't need to necessarily trust our Meshbits or Pirates Light Wallet servers. They can trust their own server that they are using on their own server. And the similar thing that I have built for the APIs, which uses to fetch those dollar rates or fiat rates from different exchanges, that too is I have coded already. It needs a little bit more features added to that, but otherwise it's pretty much ready to use in the application, and that is also open source. In case any user would not want to use our API point in the iOS application, they can install that rates fetching API on their own servers as well, and then point this iOS application to there as well whenever that feature will be available in the application. So these kind of little examples that I'm giving, what kind of mindset from MeshBits Limited team is, or what kind of decentralized points that we are trying to do. Of course, with iOS application, we cannot make things whole distribution as a decentralized as possible, unless it's done with a side loading way. But an official application installation, which most of the users use, is App Store and not side loading. Side loading is kind of another way of installing unapproved applications on your devices, kind of in a hacky way, which a regular users might not be able to do that. So in a regular way, we are trying to do whatever we can possibly do to keep things as much in control of end users' hands as possible. So that we're going to keep those things, not just for Pirate, maybe for Varus, Tokel, Komodo, some other areas, wherever possibly we can. There are many things that I have in mind which I want to do, and I'll keep those things pushing to the ecosystem.
Very cool, man. And guys, remember, Rule is one of the originals. He's like the oracle of Pirate. You know, he's one of the oracles. You know, if I were to consult with an oracle, it would be him. That's why I call him the oracle, right? These old school developers that are still here, a lot of them, you know, they're hanging around. They're still here though, and you know, every once in a while, you know, someone like Rule comes out of nowhere and says, "Yo, check out what I made," and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, try not to announce those announcements and keep my announcements as of actually released software.
I'm learning this myself. You know me, I have the biggest mouth in the world, so you know I've been learning lately to shut it.
It's better this way, because once you give an announcement and not able to meet those, it's really bad feeling for our own self. For our own self who are making those softwares, and for the end users as well, who feel disheartened that, and like, it is not released. The trust is decreased in that way. That is my opinion.
Yeah, and that's because they just don't understand you know, how development works. You know, every company that has developers, and you know, let's say Fortune 30 company I worked for, we had a group that were developers, right? And then we had the networking group, right, which was me. You know, and they would fight back and forth all the time. But development is never on time, ever. They have deadlines that always get pushed and pushed and pushed all the time. It's just the way development is.
Yeah, because we can anticipate what kind of timeline it can be, but reality is, with development, things are not always stable. It's always fluid. Like, it can go up, down, or whatever, sideways, and things can change. Right at the moment when you are saying, "Okay, we are ready to release," there's something we need to do before that. Yeah, that happens.
And and the way you guys could help is by testing it right now, so that these issues are ironed out before the go live date. Because everyone's got different phones. You know, you don't know how it's going to react with your phone, and we need that feedback to fix it. You know, or else it's going to go live. It's going to go live, and we'll discover it later and fix it. But you know, either or, it'd be nice to have it first. You guys could test it.
As I see, as the things are going so far with iOS application, things are pretty much stable, but there are few things which the early testers who installed it and gave their feedback. I would like those things to be fixed and get their feedback once again. And if things are much better, then probably maybe target the next release or next to next release as public available software. But how and when, that's not a known timeline right now.
Do you have a main place where people could submit the issues that they're having? Where could they go?
Yeah, you can go to piratewallets.io website. There is a link with a button GitHub. You can go over there. In case you don't want to use GitHub, you can come over to Discord. You can join this Pirate Chain Wallet, Pirate official Discord, and we have a channel here with Pirate Wallet iOS. You can drop over there messages, and we are looking for those messages and feedbacks and questions and issues that you are having. And you can get your support from this channel. Or you can also drop by Komodo Discord. We have a channel over there with a name Meshbits. And you can also drop messages over there in case you want any support or help.
Awesome. Very, very cool, man. Amy, I'm sorry. Maria. Did you say Maria?
Well, oh no, this is Amy, but I was wondering if I can ask a question on that.
Oh yeah. Amy, go for it.
Yeah, so sorry, I just jumped on the call, but I just downloaded the test flight app from piratewallet.io. So yeah, I swear I wasn't trying to break it, but I'd hit the back button, so then my words changed and they jumped. And I don't know if that's a known issue. So I got a different, word number 1, word number 2. And then like when I'm going from word 10, 11, 12, then when I hit the next button, it jumped back to word number 10. So yeah, should I log the issues in GitHub or somewhere? Or should I delete the app and just try again? Because I don't know if I'm writing down the correct words now.
Yeah, I'm sorry you faced that issue. It is already a known issue. It has been reported by somebody and recorded on our developer GitHub repository. And the developer is already onto that. So whenever there will be an update for that, we will we'll push a release, a next release. And in case you don't feel comfortable right now, but don't still want to do it, you can not proceed with that if that's how you feel. You can wait for the next release and then test then. In case you feel okay, the main thing is you always must have a seed phrase backup. Once you have the backup of your seed phrase, you can always restore it either in this build or maybe next builds or releases. So it won't really matter if in case the software showing up bugs like these which you are reporting. And you should feel safe as long as you have the backup of your seed phrase. So you can proceed right now as well and make sure to have a seed phrase backup and use it. The rest of the application isn't much reported as much of these kind of bugs or issues. So it's up to you. This is how I would say, like, if you can use and how you want to use it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to help test, should I delete the app and try again? Because I'm writing down different words for the same, like, word number 18, I've got 2 different words for the same, like, word.
Okay. You can start over, then it's fine. You can delete and reinstall. Sure, it will help. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, if I find anything, I'll log them.
Yeah.
You guys should get together. Gruel, so message Amy, message Gruel so you guys could get together so you could help. Amy's a techie chick. I met her in Acapulco, so she'd be very, very helpful for you, bro. She's a nice girl.
Awesome, thanks. And somebody else mentioned the screen zooming issue before. I'm also an accessibility expert, so yeah, I can help with some of that stuff. I'm not an iOS expert though.
I'm sorry, what you said about screen what?
Somebody else mentioned it a few minutes ago, like when you zoom the text, that's accessibility functionality.
Yeah. So that was me describing there are some edge cases found by the users whose phones are very much zoomed. The fonts are big, but then when they open our application, it is so much zoomed that applications fonts are cut. And they're not able to see those, like a type pad comes up and they're not able to enter the words in the field box or whatever input fields are there. So those kind of education issues are identified already, yeah. And
yeah, from an enterprise standpoint, we test up to 200% zoom. But yeah, we try to find those edge cases.
Yeah, I actually didn't had realized this kind of be an issue we get reported by some users, but apparently we have. So now, yeah, developer is already aware of these issues. Much of the issues which are being reported repeatedly are already recorded. But sure, in any case, in case you think you don't know if this issue is reported or not, just report it. Yeah, we might find maybe a new report of bug case, and we would like to know that. This really much helps. And thanks, Jaime, for bringing this issue. It helps.
Cool. Thanks so much, and thanks for building the app.
Our pleasure.
He's awesome. I knew she was a techie chick. What chick do you know actually goes and actually starts testing it as soon as she hears about it? That's really cool.
In ecosystem, I know 2 more, or maybe 3 more, maybe 4 more. There is one,
Nice.
Daria from Tokel. There is another, Sammy, who is working on lore of Tokel's game. I think Kelsey is technical. She is helping the Komodo marketing or something. I don't know exact what she is doing. There is Alice. She is CA333's wife. She is very much technical and helps him with sometimes coding and back project management and stuff and those kind of things, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
So these things I know in the ecosystem who do those things.
Yeah, not that many, man. Trust me, I can't even get my wife to even understand crypto, let alone developing something. Yeah, it's awesome. And this is the magic of the meeting every week. That this is why it's important to continuously always do it. No matter what, no matter the name, no matter what you want to call it, it doesn't even matter. The fact that we need to congregate and get together so we can solve problems no matter what they are.
I see there is a question in weekly meeting chat by Mark Anthony. He asks, will there only be one receiving address, or will there be a way to change them? Mark, answer to that is, right now, the application is only giving single address, which is associated with your seed phrase. So it doesn't matter you use that seed phrase either in our iOS application or any other iOS application of Pirate Wallets out there, or in a desktop application of Pirate Wallets official builds or whatever. You will get the same address everywhere using the same seed phrase. On the question of if there will be one single receiving address, it is a possibility. We will be looking for making it able to show multiple addresses. If you have tried, I'm not sure if you have not, if you have tried the Lite Wallet, the desktop Pirates Lite Wallet, it gives you an option to see another address by pushing the next address button when you are on the Receive tab. It shows you a next address from the seed phrase generated. Like, seed phrase can generate multiple different addresses, and that gives you a single backup, like the seed phrase, but gives you the ability to use or get multiple addresses from the seed phrases. So that kind of a facility I would like to see in our application as well. So, but I don't wish to have those kind of capabilities right now, because it's best to test it with a single address and the current situation we have, sort out all the issues with the basic application, and then get on to the complexity we can add later on. So in the future you can expect, but there is no deadline to that or timeline when, but we can sure work on such kind of feature. No worries, Mark.
Okay. All right, very cool, very nice. Any more questions? Raise your hands. Now's the time to ask questions. I'm sure we'll have Gruel back on in the future. So now's the time, guys. Get it out of your system. All right. And if we don't get any more questions,
maybe I should highlight a little bit few things which are not actually known by the users, or maybe not even highlighted in the announcement. So some users also showed a concern, like the privacy concern, like how much data you're collecting. or in case if there is any data being collected by the iOS application or the person who is still releasing, which is me and my company. So when we were developing this software, we forked this software's SDK and software toolkit from Zcash upstream code, and in that there is an option of releasing or testing a no. So we release the software with no logging features. It does not log anything. We also remove those modules which were used for logging. So not even modules are compiled in the software which are used for logging or analytics. There is no such kind of modules which are used for both logging and analytic tools. So it's kind of a bad thing for developer, but it's also a great thing for the end users because they can use it without worries like the application might be logging their activity or anything. The permissions are also visible to the users in case they want to change those. The only permissions are like give us the ability to play audio because the background synchronization doesn't work if the audio doesn't play in the background, which is small beeps every 25 seconds. The another permission is to what was the permission? Yeah, to access the biometric access, like your thumbprint or your face ID login. But that is totally optional. These are all optional. You can disable those and still use those. Just a PIN security should be sufficient. So yeah, I wanted to highlight you don't need to worry about any kind of logging or data metrics collected by Meshbits Limited because there isn't any. And I was also checking in case from test flight I can get those kind of information. But the only information I was able to check was how many users has installed the application. I'm not able to check the user's email, the user name, what kind of model that they're using. No kind of information is visible through that. Which is, to my opinion, is great because that's the ultimate privacy the end users really want. I don't really wish to have access to those kind of data. The user can also go to the GitHub repository of iOS Wallet. There are full instructions over there. They can compile those and install those on the application on their own device if they feel like. Most users will not, but this option is there. Yeah, so I just wanted to clear this from my system. Like, yeah, this is how the situation is: the privacy concerns and analytics concerns, etc.
Very cool, very cool. We only got 10 minutes left, guys. So let's get this last question in from the Johns. And
I'm Daniel. I got a weird sounding username, but my name's Daniel.
What's up, Dan? Yeah,
Hi,
I know
Daniel.
you've been here before. What's up, brother?
Yeah, I've been around for a bit. I just had a question. I was really interested in the wallet and how you can host it from your own server and stuff like that. Is that something that's unique to our ecosystem, or do other cryptocurrencies have that as well?
I think the upstream code base, which we took from Zcash and ECC Wallet, they have this option available for Android. But I'm not aware if they have provided this option for iOS in their referenced wallet source code. But the APIs sure points that any wallet which is using those SDKs and APIs, they can sure point their wallets to use users' own custom endpoints for fetching those blocks or APIs or whatever things not. I prefer to highlight that in iOS from the beginning, from the very start. So yeah, so that was my idea to add that kind of feature. So that's also kind of a thing. These are little bit of things which pushed us this software release to this much delay. Otherwise, could have been released months ago, like 3 months, 4 months ago. We made pretty good amount of changes in the back end. These little to big changes we did. That's why it got delayed this much. So yeah, I'm pretty sure
I
other
appreciate
wallets.
it. You guys have some really cool features. I wasn't aware that you could do that with any, so I'm gonna look into that more. I really appreciate
great
all the
to
work
hear
you
that.
guys do.
Nice
All
to
right, well,
hear.
thanks for having me on, guys.
Hey, Dan, thanks for coming, brother. Thank you for the great question. And
Yeah, of
then,
course.
guys, if we all disappear tomorrow, it's up to you, the community, to keep these meetings going. All right. So let's say everybody dies of some crazy virus or something. It's up to you guys to step up to the plate. It's not hard to get a login here and just put an account and start doing a show. I mean, there's nothing stopping any of you from doing that at any time. So if you want to do something, do it. At the same time, we need you as backup. That's why this is a community coin. We rely on the whole community for everything. All right. So if we disappear one day, we're going to need you guys to step to the plate. Keep this
Well, I ain't
going.
going anywhere. I'll be around, and I'm always down to help. So,
I see another question from Mark Anthony. He asked, and how do you stop the voice from saying the wallet is syncing? It's actually not recommended to do that because it's a weird thing with Apple. What Apple does is, in case you put your application in the background, which means you minimize it, or your application is running already, but you are using some other different application, your application status changes to background. And it stays alive for whatever operation it is doing for maximum, I think, 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, your application is put on to force sleep so that it doesn't utilize your system's resources. So the other ways were to get a permission from Apple for specific permissions to allow your application to use in a background as a service or some kind. But I have seen other applications in the ecosystem, like Atomic Wallet, Atomic Dex Wallet from Komodo. We don't get easily those kind of permissions from Apple. It is not that easy. So there is a hacky way, or you can say a workaround way to keep your application running in the background. And the reason to keep it alive as long as is so that your application can synchronize with your blockchain headers or blockchain network. It can take 15 minutes to maybe half an hour for the first start, but subsequent starts that you do could take maybe 1 minute maximum or something like that. So in case there is a no sound enabled for application, what will happen is you minimize the application, or your application goes to the background process, and your synchronize stops after an hour or something. Oh, you remember you had your application running. Is it synchronized yet? You find it's still saying like 2%, 1%. You disappoint yourself. Oh my God, what the hell is going on? Why it is not synchronized? I left it online for this whole long time. So for that reason, we decided to use those voices or a little bit sound of indication that your wallet is synchronizing in the background. There's a 25-second beep. There's an audio which plays every 25 seconds. It's a very faint beep. But I understand you are talking about the text to voice, which says your wallet is synchronizing in the background, or when it's finished, it says your wallet has synchronized with the network and you can use it, or whatever that is. So all I can say is we can maybe lower the volume of those text to speech voices, or maybe put the option to not say those. But other than that, those beeps has to be kept on so that the application doesn't die in the background and keep going and synchronize. I found that in the internal testing, it was a terrible experience for the internal testers. They were reporting that issue. And this background voice saying or chiming in the background was helping a lot, because the user experience was massively improved because of that. In case we get some kind of permissions from Apple itself, which I doubt they will give easily, because Apple is really not too great with the developers, especially with the cryptocurrency ones. So until then, we have to resort to these kind of workaround ways to make things work in the application. I hope this clears the reason why.
Okay, very very cool, very cool. Thank you, Gruel. Thanks for all the fantabulous information you've given us today. This is very educational, everybody. For you guys that really want to learn, this is a great start. Just coming to the weekly meetings and learning from all these amazing projects we bring on, and developers, and just even just normal people that have interesting projects. This is how you learn, and this is how you meet people.
Speaking of that, you said amazing projects. Recently, there was like a blog post that Pirate Chain was doing something with Quartal. Could you speak to that in the last few minutes that we got?
Quartal?
Yeah, that's
Quartal?
right. Yeah.
Quartal is a blockchain. It's the way it works is everything is local, right? So everything works locally. So the wallet is very unique. It's got a core and it has the UI separate. So when the core updates, it's separate from the UI. Everything is completely separated from the UI and all localized. What makes Quartal special is that it does have a DEX, just like Komodo DEX, just not as refined. I mean, Atomic DEX. It also has something called QDNs, which will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And you'll be able to build a website on it, on its own network. The number of nodes is infinite because the way you mine is you being reliable with your node and being up and running. So it forces people to have a full node running everywhere. I think at the moment the number of nodes have reached past what Litecoin even has at the moment. And who knows how big this thing could get, which is what makes it exciting for me. If you don't know what Quartal is, you can check it out. Croatic is in charge of that, and the synergy between both projects is they're going to be adding us to their decks, and then at some point it'll be cool because you could pay for Pirate to build a website, on their platform and stuff like that, and whatever else they come up with. I believe they're going to have hardware storage too, where you could rent storage, which will allow you for a bigger website using a CMS at some point.
Oh, very nice. So there's like a partnership with their decentralized exchange, and you'll have the ability to build a website and pay for it with Pirate.
Yeah, and I don't like to use the word partnership. We're just friends. I don't speak legalese. So we're just friends, man. Let's get back down to earth. So you can check it out. I hope that answered the question. We've had shows on it. If you guys look at the older shows, we've invited him on. He's spoken about his project.
Awesome, thank you.
All right. No problem. Thanks everybody for coming today. We have to cut this short because there is another public meeting happening right now, and it's really interesting. If you live in the United States, you can learn how to live free. I'm gonna post it here in the weekly meeting chat. This guy is amazing. There's a lot of drawbacks though. You no longer depend on the government. You no longer get your Social Security and stuff like that. But that's just part of living free. I mean, and what the fuck you think you're gonna get from that? So he shows you how to actually take your life back from the government. Basically divorce the Fed, where you don't have, you're devoted to your state alone and not the whole federal District of Columbia. So I urge you to check this meeting out. There's the meeting link right there. You guys should listen to this if you live in the United States, as I do.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time.
Love you, Gruel. Thank you. Love you all. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next week, hopefully with a pretty interesting project as well. All right, guys. Love you all. This is Lootz signing out.
Did you know that financial privacy today is freedom tomorrow? Ahoy and welcome to Pirate Chain. Utilizing revolutionary cutting-edge technology that is pioneered and mastered for financial privacy, cryptography, where storing, sending, and receiving your money securely and anonymously isn't just optional, it's set by default. Go to pirate.black now and take control of your financial freedom. Download the full node encrypted wallet under Treasure Chest for ARRR using Mac, Windows, or Linux. Also available on Android under Skull Island and coming soon to an iOS wallet near you. ARRR!